RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Monday night live stream, the 21st day of September. Excited to be back. And of course, a lot of things has transpired over the last 72 plus hours since we last connected. And so a lot of stuff worthy of talking about because I think everything's being set up very well for complete pandemonium in the streets in the very near future. And so I want to talk about that. I got a couple articles I wanted to touch on and check in with you guys and find out what's going on and what else is happening out there that might not have come across this past weekend. So as always, my name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk. And if we have any new viewers out there, want to let me know where you're watching from. Would love to acknowledge your presence and definitely get a chance to see where you're checking in from. So with that being the case, I'll check in via the comments real quick, and then I'll scroll through a couple articles and then open up the phone lines and let's talk a little bit. So let me see. We got Jojo Wade, we got King D, we got Trisha, we got Philman, we got Tim, we got Riley T here, we got Paul, says buy Bitcoin. What else we got here? We got let me see. Oh, my mouse is acting up on me. Let me get this thing together. Okay, we got Java Junkie, sorry. We got Babar, Truth or Nothing. Okay, so a fair amount of people tuning in. Trisha says, did all y'all see the runaway cowboy in Chicago on the Dan Ryan? Did not see the runaway cowboy. Feel free to let me know about that one. So, but main subject matter, of course, today. So for those that had a chance to see the interviews I did with Chris today, as well as Rana, Mr. Vig on Saturday, or Sunday rather, curious to find out your thoughts on that as well. But the markets today didn't respond too favorably towards all the drama out there. Of course, we got the banking situation, $2 trillion worth of money laundering and fraud and scams and all types of stuff in the banking sector. But as of now, no one will probably go to jail, probably a couple slaps on the wrist, but life will go on. And then along with that, the banks are not doing well at all. Looking at all the too big to fail banks, and they are failing big time, but yet the central banks are going to try to prop them up as much as they can at the expense of everybody else. And then what else we got here? We got the Supreme Court seat. And so it looks like as of this upcoming Friday or Saturday, President Trump is going to put out a nominee, and then we'll find out how the world responds to that and so forth. So a lot of things worth touching on. So I want to just share my screen real quick, give you an idea as to what we're going to touch on, and then we will just thumb right through it. So some headlines from the mainstream news sources that caught my attention. House Democrats unveil bill to avoid government shutdown, but McConnell slams lack of farm aid. So a couple things in our title caught my attention. Government shutdown by the end of this month. So there's literally a week and a half before, the whole debt ceiling, all that stuff we've been used to every couple of years. But what's different about this current government shutdown is it's the threat of a shutdown in the midst of a depression, where there's already a large amount of individuals unemployed. So imagine if this shutdown happens to spill into the public sector with all the government jobs or whatnot, and how that wouldn't be too pretty. So that could be something that the Democrats love to utilize to cause more chaos. And then also the lack of farm aid. And so once again, President Trump touting that, China is sending in billions upon billions of dollars. They're paying for all types of stuff. But aren't they supposed to be buying up all the farm goods? Therefore, the funds should be there. So something's not right there. But, it is what it is. And then the next article here is more on the banks. It says global banks seek to contain damage over $2 trillion of suspicious transfers. So once again, a lot of fake accounts, fraudulent activity, scams, Ponzi schemes, you name it, all wrapped up in the banks. Every too big to fail bank and the government knew about it, but nobody seemed to have done much on it. So it gives some of the banks here. We got HSBC, we got Standard Chartered, we got Barclays, we got Deutsche Bank. So you name it. $2 trillion of funny currency flushing around, and nobody will go to jail. But signs of the end times of the banking sector. Here we got secret documents show how North Korea launders money through the U.S. banks. So once again, more banks. And then here's something interesting. Protests over the Supreme Court situation. So I was thinking about how due to this current chaos in D.C. over filling that seat before the election, I could see, as it says here, a lot of homeowners, as far as the GOP lawmakers, have been having issues with people out in the streets making all types of noise throughout the day. So that's going to get worse. And then here, of course, we know, gold and silver took a little dip today, but yet, according to the dollar index, the dollar got a little stronger. So a lot of things worthy of talking about. So that being the case, I'm going to check in with you guys, and then I'm going to dive right into some of these articles here, and then we're going to have some fun with it. All right. So as always, feel free to ask a question, leave a thought as we go throughout this live stream here. I want to hear from you guys, and we can have some fun with it. So Joe M says, problem, reaction, solution. That summarizes all of that right there. Because everything that we're going to be confronted with for now through the election. And so, speaking with Chris today, who's a TA guy, looking at the charts, basically his analysis that regardless of what comes out of what happens in the news, what happens around the world, it's going to impact the market. So the markets right now are extremely choppy. They're going to be that way for a while. And at this current point, for those that are passive investors, those that park funds, buy and hold, and let other people, take care of their funds for them solely, like I can imagine that being a very uncomfortable time, because you don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what's going to be that major catalyst to just send the markets down to the rock bottom, which unfortunately, given the situation that the world is in, that's the only way that things can actually move forward, because we need a cleansing of the system. The debt is too much, and there's no way of meeting all these promises. So at some point, that type of thing would have to happen. Now, the question is, will you still be in all those archaic financial markets as they die? So Barlight Broke says, might look serious as hell tonight. I don't necessarily, mean to look serious, but, one of the things I want to touch on outside of all these other stories, I'm going to just, thumb through them even more so briefly, is that we're being set up, and things appear to be being set up for complete civil unrest. Like I'm really starting to get that vibe that as this, especially because of the Supreme Court situation, like my personal opinion is that Ruth Supreme Court's, RGB, it didn't happen. I don't think she passed away this past weekend. And my personal opinion is I think because she's been battling health issues for some time now, my personal opinion is that, she might have passed a while ago, and this was kept on the hush because, to my knowledge, no one has actually seen her, or she hasn't been fully functioning at her job for quite some time now due to the health ailments. So what would make me think that just this weekend she happened to pass? So I'm personally thinking that this information was put out here for this time frame. And so, of course, the next argument is, can a Supreme Court be put in place within this presidential cycle? And they're using a time frame that, yeah, sure, she was actually put in within 42 days or something like that, which meets the time frame to let people know that it is possible to do that. And so once again, I think this is all a part of a greater setup. Not sure how it's planning out, but definitely it's going to be chaotic as hell, because we're going to have a lot of disgruntled and angry people out there. And at this point, as I mentioned before, I expect a lot more dirty tricks and a lot more bad actors to rise to the surface that will really cause some issues. So this is my 2 cents there. What else we got here? Says Renee says, go topped out, guys. Sorry. And so here's the thing. So talking earlier with Chris Vermeulen from Traders, Technical Traders or whatever, his TA charts forecast for what he's saying is saying gold around 1800-ish, give or take, and silver is seeing it bottoming out about 22. So once again, never mind the price, never mind how low it goes. Get your weight up as best as you can, as fast as you can, because at some point, one day, that they will not be readily as available as they are now. So you can watch the price if you want, or you can just worry about the physical if that is of importance to you. But don't, it's always going to be a buying opportunity in this current environment, especially as things get a little bit more chaotic. John Corrado says 70% of silver puts you in the 1% of the worldwide. 2 monster boxes put you firmly in the 0.1%. Okay, so that's interesting. So I saw. I think Mario Manico 64 did a story about that, talking about based on some statistics that was put together, given the fact that most people don't have silver or precious metals in general. a very small portion of the world has actual possession outside of, India. I think Indian citizens are the ones that are probably the heaviest, because given the fact that that's part of their culture. But that 70% mark, I think it could be a lot lower than that. And then it's a matter of, with whatever weight you do have, how do you price it? Because you can't really, give it a fair price in Federal Reserve note terms when the currency has already been completely destroyed. So how do you determine the true value of it down the line as far as what you can actually acquire for it in a chaotic world where it looks like this is heading? So, but let me see. Bro says 2,700 gold by March. Okay, so that is something worthwhile there. So yeah, once again, we all can agree on one thing: the metals will be going up before they go to zero, because I don't think that's possible. But all right, so let me see here. So let me get to just a couple articles real quick, and then I'll open the phone lines. I want to hear from you guys. And so once again, one of the things that caught my attention is this government shutdown. And so I think that shutting down the government, causing more unemployment, and shutting down public services, especially in the D.C. area, will be something that could be a part of the cards. And I think that'll play more into the fact that they will not be able to come up with any type of relief. So from what I'm gathering, what I'm seeing is that even the bankers and all the financial experts are saying that, everything is slowing down. This so-called recovery is slowing down. So if no funds are provided, then there will be no way of getting through the election, nevertheless, the rest of this year. So think about that. We have all the unemployment, all those things we all have been talking about for quite some time now, that they're not going to get better and they're going to get worse. And more people will be dependent upon and needing some form of help from somewhere. And of course, what do they always tend to turn to? The government. And so if the government's not sending out anything and not providing anything, then what does that mean? It's going to be a lot of people in the streets. And I'd imagine outside those paid activists with the Antifa and the Black Lives Matters crowd, there's going to be a lot of other people out there, genuinely out there, due to the fact that they're, not able to provide for themselves. And so they're going to be looking to do so by any means necessary. And that spells more problems. And that's just something that's going to be coming. But I think this government shutdown situation will be and could be used as a tool to further stall and to try to play the political hardball amongst the left and right paradigm, all while this Supreme Court situation could really get grimy. And so here's the next article here, the global banks. And so I was looking at watching one of the commentators talk about the current share prices of the banking sector. And like right now, and especially over the last, since last year, September at this time, when the repo market went belly up, all the too big to fail banks took a major hit. And so if you look at a chart with all their share prices, it's in a tanker. And so literally the too big to fail banks are walking on very thin ice right now. At any minute, or if not already, they've already failed through and broken through and drowning. And we haven't found out about it yet. So I think that this current event here, depending on how it plays out throughout the week, whether or not we hear more news and more noise about this banking scandal of just Ponzi scheme activity behind the scenes, will there come a point, in your guys' opinion, that you think the public will get tired of seeing banks getting away with nothing, or getting away with murder, as it's probably called, and nothing being done? So I'm curious to find out what you guys think. Let me know. But just give an idea of what's going on for those who may not have a chance to catch up. The FinCEN report, which was leaked by the same individuals that leaked the Panama Papers, was it 3 years ago? That showed all the secret accounts down in the Panama region, and it happened to be a lot of big name banks and all types of falsely created fictitious entities that were just basically hiding and smuggling funds around the world. But the same source leaked this out as well. So it says the report was based on 2,100 leaked suspicious activity reports, or SARS, covering transactions between 1999 and 2017, filed by the banks and other financial firms with the Department of Treasury. It says banks are required to file a SAR report whenever handling funds that cause grounds for suspicious or criminal activity. So once again, this is an old event. And so why is it just being surfaced right now? Does it have anything to do with creating another problem, reaction, solution type of thing, something to keep us distracted? while all of the banks, which are listed up here, HSBC, all the banks I named, will basically, they all get fined. They'll get fined, get slapped on the wrist, and that will be all she wrote. And it's one of those things where we the people, at what point will we get pissed off and say enough's enough? Start really taking your funds out the bank, or stop doing any type of activity with the too big to fail banks, or what? So I'm curious to find out, because as of right now, this is pretty big news, because there will be a financial crisis officially, and the banks will lead the way again, even though Jerome Powell mentioned that they're stronger than ever, because you factor in all this activity here, and then you factor in all the bankruptcies, the delinquencies, and all the bad debt that they're holding, while the Federal Reserve, accumulates more mortgage-backed securities like never before. So, yeah, man, more bad news, unfortunately. Low Blood Pressure says, RTD, buying gold with a credit card is suspicious. I could imagine so. If you, but here's the thing, I don't know the balance of those cards, but all those transactions are relatively small in comparison to the amount of, it was multiple millions. I'm talking about six figures, or I'm sorry, 6 million, 10 million, 9 million, 15 million, transactions monthly on some of these Ponzi scheme bank account transactions. So that's, to be expected. And then here's something that really should be shocking if this is, valid. Secret documents also show that North Korea launders money through the U.S. banks. So for the last two administrations, talking hardball about North Korea, saying that North Korea, the terrorists and this and that, and they supposedly sanctioning them. But while we have the banks, we got the too big to fail banks still banking with Kim Jong-un. And so all that stuff there was done for just a public show, while Kim Jong-un is still doing business. All his companies and everything else is still fine and good. So yeah, this is the type of stuff that should piss people off, but I don't think it will at the end of the day. But here's an opportunity. Gold slides 3% on strong dollar, stimulus concerns, silver tumbles. And so the question is, did anybody take advantage of getting their weight up today? Did anybody take a chance at accumulating a little bit more? Because I noticed that the price got down to about 24, and then it was back up, and it's about 25 right now. So one thing that tells me is that they can do as much as they can to try to stop the momentum of the metals, but given the fact that people have lost confidence and trust in the system, it's only a matter of time before all those slam in the prices due to all the future contracts and all that crap. It no longer works, and those drops never really hold. So here we got the current activity now, and now it's just a matter of, will the markets open up tomorrow around the same place or not? So something worthwhile. So it could be another day to get your weight up if you have not already. All right, so enough of me ranting. Just wanted to touch on a couple subject matters. What else is happening out there? Give me your thoughts on the Supreme Court situation. Based upon the information we have with the supposed nominees for President Trump, do you think that's legit, or do you think there's going to be some hidden candidates that we don't know about? So give me a call. Let's talk. Let me open up these phone lines real quick. And I'm curious to find out what you guys think about the Supreme Court situation, or whatever else is on your guys' mind. So feel free to let me know. And then also, I want to make sure for those that are tuning in, I want to share with you guys a opportunity of getting your weight up with the coin. But here we go. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? This is Dwayne from the Midwest. What's going on, man?
Dwayne from the Midwest. I'm doing good, my friend. What are your thoughts on this banking, corruption, scandals, Ponzi schemes, Supreme Courts, you name it? What's on your mind tonight?
Mike. We are at war, Mike.
Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah, we are at war. I mean, people don't realize. I don't know why people don't realize we are at war with China. We're at war with China.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. There's an article that came out that said that this group, the Chinese Progressive out west, was funding Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
They have powers to the CCCP.
Yeah.
So we're at war. That's what we do when we want to destabilize the country. We fund the opposite side.
Yeah.
So we're at war with this thing with the Ruth, because she was very liberal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most liberals have a soft spot for communists,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just a mild way of put it. You know, they have a soft spot for communists. So I think that was like one of the last hopes of its official, that China feels that they don't have a good footing on America. But we're at war. All those banks is like we're going through a bankruptcy, and Trump's the man for the hour.
Yeah.
But right now we are at war with China. Do you see what they just did? Where they flew the missile over Guam? I think it was Guam. I think.
I heard something about it, but I didn't dive in further.
Yeah, well, they had a test, or I think it was a test or simulation, where they was flying missiles over Guam.
Mm.
You know, and President Trump talked about it today on. It was real funny. He talked about it today on Fox News, and the commentary asked him, he said, "What can you tell me about that?" He said, "Even if I did, you know, I can't tell you about that. Just pay attention to what's going on, and you'll get the story." That's pretty much what he said. So that tells me that technically we at war. You know how it is when you take it on a street level. You know, guys, do a little bowstring back and forth, little wordplay, little chess moves back and forth. But I think the lockdowns and everything, I think they're preparing us for war. What are your thoughts?
War. Okay, so definitely we are in that transition period now, and so I don't China. China. So all those meetings that were done throughout the last decade were all in preparation for this time frame. So I wouldn't say China is controlling this and that, because I know George Soros, publicly, a lot of people have pretty much shown that how he's funded everything, and he so that's like saying he's working along with China. But I think they all got their own agendas in this, and so it's a matter of who comes out on top. Because I don't think none of this is actually, there'll be no winners in the end, apart from those that call themselves narrating this script. And so I don't China is a part of this equation, but I don't think they're necessarily leading the way. I think Soros is, but then even today, during one of the speeches, President Trump mentioned the military-industrial complex. And so it was surprising to hear that. But once again, he's mentioned a lot of things that would have you believe that he's really doing some good. So it's hard to believe. So I know this is a transition period, which is a war. It's going to be chaotic as hell. There'll be no true winners, but so I can see that the whole war aspect.
Okay, but here's the thing, though, Mike. When you have a war, you know, a heavyweight fight, they have what they call the purse.
Yeah.
What is the purse? The purse is who's going to control the new monetary system. That's what the war is about.
Yeah. So
that's okay. So whole war is about who's going to control the new. Will the dollar reinvent itself and still be the world currency, or will China wants to reassert itself? I'm not saying that they're calling the shots, because they're not calling the shots. Obviously not calling the shot, but that's what the war is about. It's like we're in Britton Woods 2.2. I mean 2.0.
Yeah. Good point, man. So yeah, I can buy into that, my man. So definitely, it's gonna who's leading the next world order, and so that's the whole idea that I think the U.S. has their agenda.
There you go.
And I think the whole Silk Road and One Belt, One Road initiative is another agenda. Now it's the war of agendas, and so the East and the West, and who controls them. So, but once again, I think that there's some underlying families and oligarchs that probably got both sides that will win on either side. So I don't think, it's going to affect some families that's trying to oversee this. So, but hey, man, I appreciate you calling in. It's always good to hear your voice, my friend.
All right, same here. Take care.
Be good. Thanks, sir. Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So yeah, definitely, I can agree that we are at that. We're in that transition period now. And all the chaos and all the confusion is definitely doing a good job of shaking things up. Now, pointing towards one entity or two or three that's kind of narrating this is kind of, it's difficult. But I know that there's evil forces behind this. Principalities and powers at a lot higher places that perhaps the public doesn't really know about, because we only know the front men. Who's the front men? We got the paid for politicians and their agendas. We got the George Soros of the world. Like, here's my question. George Soros, who's being mentioned a lot now, so I'm sure everybody had a chance to see that Fox News little snippet where Newt Gingrich tried to mention Soros funding everything and having purchased and funded all the attorney generals in all those states. And so, but yet once again, George Soros, I don't know, he might be, 1, 2, 3, 4 billion. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to what he's worth, net worth wise on paper, he's not he's not the wealthiest. So I think that it still goes well above his pay grade. He's just a front man that we know about, or he's the most active in the destroying America category. But yet, we have, once again, here's my thing. At no point do we ever hear about the word Rothschild. And so everybody know that that family in general has centuries old wealth because they are the owners of the two big to fail banks and the central banks around the planet. And we never hear much about them at all. So I'd imagine that family and probably some other families are the ones sitting back and just pointing the shots. They're probably texting George Soros and his crew to say, hey, we want this. And he said, okay. So, and that's how I think, that's how high I think this thing goes, because once again, we're at a point where this goes well beyond just the United States of America. This is, the evil's desire to control humanity and to destroy humanity. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm curious to find out what you guys think. So, Steph's empty bank account says the Rothbergs go back to Babylon. They are old school evil. And so, once again, the principalities and powers, those that are in high wicked places, mind you, Satan, it boils back down to Satan. Satan is doing what he, is on this planet to do, which is seek, kill, steal, and destroy. So, who spiritually demonic individuals are the ones overseeing this for sure, because nobody in a right frame of mind would be willing and wanting to, from a good heart, from a loving heart, see this much destruction and pain unless it was pure evil. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, it's Typo from Massachusetts. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Typo. What are your thoughts on these matters this evening?
I am really curious whether your people know about Russell J. Gould, and if they can offer insight into whether or not the process that he went through in war castles and all of that, because he's been releasing videos now, like every day, speaking to the people and sending paperwork off. And he said he's the top of the Supreme Court because he represents non-corporation. He's above it. So I am so curious to hear what your people and your listeners know about this, because I'm really curious about his quantum financial system and have not been able to find out much about it.
Yeah.
Relative to the cryptos, which he says is a different crypto. So I'm just putting it out there. What do you people say? What do you think?
Great question. Appreciate you. And hopefully anybody in the chat, feel free to let us know. Cause Rice Crypto, I've listened to him a couple of times, and he's the one that's going down that pathway and dive deeper into that. So I've not dived into it just because it's one of many things that it'd be hard to go deep into it. So I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. So for all those out there, so what Typo mentioned, I've heard about it, but never really dived into it. But yet there's an individual out there that's supposedly royalty or above this and that, got paperwork to document that. I'm curious to find out if anybody has any thoughts about that. Feel free to let us know, or if you've dived deeper into it and can educate us on it, feel free to do so, because I'm definitely curious to find out what exactly all that's about. So what else you got here in the chat? Phone lines are open. Give me a call. Let's talk. He's indeed a demon. Well, don't trust it, can't set up. And so, okay, I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on the Supreme Court situation. And so, it looks like President Trump wants to replace RGB with another a female court, Supreme Court person or whatnot. I don't know what they call them. But yeah, here you go. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Darrell. I'm calling from Mississippi.
How you doing, Darrell? Can you mute the computer or the phone or? Okay, we got a feedback
Yeah.
there. Oh, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Darrell from Mississippi.
Darrell from Mississippi. What's in your mind tonight, Darrell? What are your thoughts on all this stuff we're talking about, or anything else?
I was listening to the guy talk about wars with China, and we built China, and people don't realize that we gave them our tech. Bill Clinton signed tech deals in the 90s. You can Google that.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, China's like a test bed for the world.
Mm-hmm.
They get things way before the rest of the world. So us being at war with China, we gave them what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Their military tech, the United States gave it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think we're at war with. I think that's a misdirection.
Yeah.
Just like the TikTok deal. Make it seem like it's a big deal, but get a deal signed right before you about to shut it down.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And so I don't know. I think there's something under the surface because there's so much more going on that we don't see. But a lot of the tech that China has, we gave it to them.
Yeah.
The United States did. So are we truly at war? What does China gain by going to war with us?
Good point. And so right now in the midst of a transition, I think it's more so the most important thing in what I'm gathering is just the control of the next monetary world order. And so who has the leading currency or who has the, I guess, the biggest military, strongest military, and all that other things that go along with the reserve currency status. And so I think that's what we're being presented with is at stake now. Will the Federal Reserve note be the world reserve currency for that much longer? And if it's not, then what's next? And that's where I think all this is keeping us. Yeah, go ahead.
So my counter to that is, if we truly believe in the NWO and the one world currency, which means all these countries are working together, they have to work together to have a one world currency. Will there even be a world reserve currency if there's truly going to be a one world currency, one world government? If that's the end game.
Good point. So yes, I think all this stuff we're experiencing now is a part of the shakeup and breaking down the current political / boundaries, governmental boundaries, country boundaries, and political systems to take us towards that one world type of ordeal. So I think that this is probably the start of what, God forbid, 10, 20 years from now, that one world crap be fully installed. But yeah, this is the beginning phases, or we've been in the beginning phases now, starting to really, rear its ugly head above water.
Create a problem, and you have the solution already waiting to fix it. They already have the solution, but they're creating a problem now to make it seem there's a problem.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if the end game is all countries being on the same playing field, one world currency, that means they're working together in the background.
Yeah. Hey, I would agree, my man. But thank you for calling and sharing your thoughts. Appreciate that insight.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Be good. Yeah, man. So that's what it is. So feel free to let me know what's on your mind. Highlight everything in $1. I think I missed some thoughts and comments. So Solo says a yuan world order. There's Charlie in them trees, bro. Okay. Sandra says the CCP is only 70 years old. They have canceled out the old, so China is the younger government-wise than the USA. Yeah, but China, as we've known them for centuries. I mean, remind you from what we're told in history books, they're the first ones to have paper currency 1,000 years ago. So, as a people, they've been around a lot longer than we have been in this current format of a republic / democracy, whatever they want to call it now, of 50 states or whatever. So they've been around a lot longer. Hello, caller. Where are we calling from?
Yeah, hi. This is Casey calling from Fort Worth.
How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, the last guy who just called, he brought up why would China be doing this and why would the United States be doing this. I think it has something to do with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. They built that bank. I think it has like 100 billion assets, and I think it's basically competing against the World Bank and the IMF. And I think it has what's going on when it comes to the Rothschilds obviously control both these countries, or manipulate both these countries at least. And I think what they did was China got too ambitious. The one belt, one road. They're putting military bases, across the world. They're getting too ambitious. I think what happened was they put Trump in because what's his name? Who's the Commerce Secretary? Wilbur Ross. He's a Rothschild agent, and when Trump first came in, he had, I think, 6 Goldman Sachs people in there. Anyways, I think what the Rothschilds are doing is, I think they're telling China, they're reminding them who's boss. They're starting these trade wars. They're starting these. They're taking down Hawani and ZTE, type of stuff. And I think what they're doing is they're sending a message to China saying, don't cross that line again. And also, there's a depopulation agenda on here. So I think it has to do. I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to keep China in line. They're trying to start a world war to depopulate the earth, and and also it's just what they need to begin the one world currency. They need a giant tragedy to the United Nations. Yeah, and I think this is the beginning of it right here.
Yeah. Hey, I would agree with that, my friend. Thank you for sharing your insights. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Yep, be good. Yeah, man, good insights as always. So feel free to give me a call. Let's talk here to find out whatever you guys think. And so I want to definitely touch on a Supreme Court situation. And so walk through a couple of scenarios as to how that might play out. So as of now, it looks like if everything, I guess, goes according to, President Trump's plan, that he'll have one of his picks in there before Election Day to help with the process of all the litigation and all the lawsuits and whatever might come after the election. And so, will that work out according to plan? And because of this, I think that there's something else coming. There's something else planned between now and then that will further derail what appears to be, a clear Trump. Because as of right now, it looks like Trump is just walking over Biden. Every time I see a Biden video, it just looks like he's suffering even more and more, as far as his support. Everybody knows that, nothing originates with him. Everything that he's reading off teleprompters originates from whoever writes his script. And therefore, this is not his campaign. We know that. So they're going to get desperate pretty soon and start doing some really crazy stuff. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. What's going on,
T,
brother?
how you doing, my man? I'm doing good. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, I started out, you got a good show, man. I started out with one thing on my mind, and then a couple people call in. I was like, oh, no, let me say something on that first.
Touch on it, man.
We have to be careful with China because you have to remember that we're all in this together. They're all in this together. It's us against them, basically. And they're just trying to move us to a new monetary system without having all the uproar that's eventually going to come along with it. But they don't need it now, just yet.
They don't need it now just yet. So as of right now, they're going to let this whole presidential. So are they waiting on? And does all eyes matter? Does everything matter based upon this current election? So is that like, are they waiting on the results for that, or to determine their next step, or what?
It's already been selected. We know this. It's already been selected. How this thing's going to run, how this thing's going to take its course. They just ain't told us. So we're just fodder to them, man. I mean, that if everybody realized that this is just a spiritual walk for us, and not as something that we're trying to stay here forever and live forever, and that should get you around the COVID thing. Yeah. But we've been blessed to be in these bodies, and we just need to take it as such and enjoy what Mother Nature has given us, the beauty, and the body can heal itself amazingly. Yeah. But don't realize how much the inner spirit and how powerful it is. Yeah. And we just need to take that as it is, and stop looking for somebody else to solve our problems when we were able to solve our own problems. Yeah. But that's not what I called you for.
Okay. Go ahead, man. Give it to me.
I called you because I was, the banking thing went down today.
Correct. Yeah, I talked about that a little earlier.
Yeah. And I was wondering why now? You have to ask that question. Anytime something pops up like this, you have to ask, why now? Why now? You've done it since 2008, and now you're in 2020. Why now? Right. And I got to researching, and I put it in the chat. I don't know if you're able to go back in the chat, but there's a docket that the New Jersey judge is looking at. But the one thing that I noticed is that about Deutsche Bank and the Epstein case about his planes and who he had on his planes. So that'll be the next thing that's starting to come out.
Yeah.
About who was on his planes. Got to release the names and everything.
Yeah.
But the thing that got me, this judge, and I'm sure you remember it, but you may have to. I may not be putting it right, but you'll have to dig into it. This judge was the judge in New Jersey who was down in the basement, and her son and her husband was upstairs being murdered.
Okay.
Son got murdered. Dad went to a critical condition, and the guy that killed himself in the getaway car down the street.
Okay. So
yeah, and he was allegedly the same guy that killed some guy out in California. It's a big story, man. I don't know if you're gonna give me the time for it though. Yeah, this judge, her husband. This is all before. This is this year. This is this year. Her husband was upstairs. The son answered the door. They killed him. Went in and tried to off the father. And she was down in the basement. And the FBI was investigating it. And come to find out, when they walked out the door, they found the guy who did it just down the street a case.
Yeah, so I heard about the surface story of that. Never dived deeper, but yeah, that's that stuff is getting a little crazy out there, man. So I'll put on the screen an article about Epstein, and so they're the whatever the island is requiring all the documentation and flight records be turned over, and so man.
And the Judge Esther, I believe it is her name.
Let me see here.
She's hearing the case. But you know we have to realize this too, that this world was set up on gangsters, and those gangsters hadn't died off.
Yeah,
they just got new names and new faces and everything, and you know our lives is nothing to them.
Yeah,
just to get their point across and their motives. So you know they probably knew this was coming.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Hey,
make sure when you sit on that bench, you look at the case closely.
Yeah, for real, that is true. Hey, Tom, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Yeah, be good.
You do the same.
Yeah. Yeah, man. This is a interwoven case of craziness on this planet because everything is, man. I guess it's a battle between the darkness and the light, and the darkness is an attempt to make sure nothing is brought to the light. But we all know that everything done in darkness will eventually make its way to the light. And so this Epstein situation here, I mean, I don't think much is going to come from it, but it would be good to see what's on his flight logs. And so there's some people, out of, several decades of him flying back and forth with a multiple large amounts of Hollywood's politicians, you name it. It'll probably be some names on there that will shock a lot of people. But then again, are you guilty through association? Just the fact you were on there, you went back and forth to the islands a couple times. Like, there's one trip down to the island of whatever make you 100% guilty. You know what I'm saying? Or does 4 or 5 trips? Is there, so how do you break that down? Because outside of just the flight records, that doesn't really prove any type of guilt other than, assuming if you got several trips under your belt, then you probably up to no good. But curious to find out what you guys think about that. Because that is interesting subject matter, but yeah, we'll see what comes about with that. But a couple more calls and we'll get ready to dial back. I want to hear from you guys. What else is going on? And then a TikTok situation. Between the front companies, Oracle and Walmart, is what we're told in the mainstream media, but the underlying creators will still have control of it, and which are the entities that have all the backdoor access to spy on the world, which is still going to be the case, whether it's done by China or the U.S. It's all going to end up in the same damn server. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. Long time listener, D. Robbie, calling from New York City.
How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Just come to give you a little information about the families you were talking about. Talking about the Rothschild.
Okay, give it to us.
Well, if you want, you can look into it a little deeper. The Council of 13, that's one. They control the Council of 300. If you just look into those, you'll have a much greater idea as to how many entities these people control.
Okay, so I wasn't aware. So you said the Council of 13 controls, and so Council of 13 and Council of 300.
Yeah, if you Google that, you get a very good idea.
Okay, I will do
It's kind
so.
of scary if you've never heard of it. Those 13 families and who they are, what they control, and the families under them, the 300 the entities they control.
Yeah.
You see that, you will be like, man, they control that and everything.
Yeah.
They just control everything. And a question I had for you, I don't know, I was trying to find some information about Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
He had sued J.B. Hunt's family, the trucking company family, and Walmart. And they settled that lawsuit earlier this year. And I haven't found any information about it. It was about, because I didn't know he owned a ton of shares in, I think, his not CSX, it's BNSF or something like that, one of those rail companies. He had sued them.
Yeah.
And expect the price of shipping to go up because J.B. Hunt and Warren Buffett and them had a great deal, but the Hunt family knew how inflation was going to work and turn out in their favor in the long run. So now we're going to pay the price for shipping all over this country.
Yeah.
Because now BNSF is getting hammered and they don't like it and they want out of their contract. But based on what everybody's telling me in the trucking industry, it's like collusion because you have just these three families came together and they basically made all the rules. And nobody knows what the deal is, but now they're suing each other. So it was settled, but I couldn't seem to find any information about it.
Yeah, that sounds like that's going to be kept.
Just look into that.
I will definitely. I appreciate you for bringing that to my attention. And that type of information there will be on the hush hush. So we won't much of that be allowed to surface. So it'll be hard to come across that, but I'm sure somebody out there knows something. So, but hey, man, good stuff. Way to put me on game there. Definitely gonna do my homework there. So I appreciate you for calling in, my friend.
No problem, man. Calling from FEMA Camp 1.
FEMA Camp 1. Okay, be good.
All right, man.
All right, be good.
Bye-bye.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's low blood pressure. Corpus Christi, how's it going?
I'm doing good, my friend. What's on your mind tonight? What's going on with you?
I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Supreme Court deal thing going on.
Okay, give it to me.
What's that?
So what are your thoughts on it? Will Trump be able to fill that seat before Election Day?
I don't think so, Mike. I think they're going to delay it. But to tell you the truth, Mike, it doesn't matter. They don't hear cases of any validity. Like all the gun cases, they say no, we're not going to listen to them.
Yeah.
The only thing they listen to is LGBTQ XYZ and affirmative action cases. And what else? And then maybe they're probably going to pass a law to defund the police. I don't know, Mike. But all the important cases, they don't even want to hear them.
Yeah. Now, what's the chance that he is able to fill that seat, and then the court being more open and willing to hear those cases, or bringing up some old cases and readdressing those cases?
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. There was supposed to be like one gun control, but see, I don't understand. The Supreme Court has already said that all weapons of war are for the militia, they're supposed to be legal. So I don't know how states are sitting there passing and banning magazines and all kinds of craziness. And then the Supreme Court already says that gold and silver is legal tender, right? The Constitution.
Yeah.
But why are states passing laws making gold and silver legal tender? They don't need to do that. Just look at the federal statute. I don't understand it, Mike.
Good point. So once again, I think this whole Supreme Court situation could turn out to be a whole lot of nothing, given the fact that we're currently in a situation where, no matter what is going on in the political realm, this whole pandemic situation, every commercial, every person, every business is talking about a pandemic and all the health stuff behind it. So that's going to be the primary cover up of everything, regardless of what goes on under the scenes. So, yeah, I'm of the mindset that, if it does go through, Trump is he's wanting it to go through for sure, so that it makes it easier for him to not have to depend upon, months and months and weeks before the actual winner is determined. So I think he would want to utilize that position of having our seat filled to have the Supreme Court come to some type of decision ahead of time so that, it works out in his favor. So, but, we will see. because we got 3 months left for the end of the year, or 3 months left. It's gonna be a hell of over 3 months, man.
Yeah, Mike, and one more thing I wanted to tell you, all this about this health scare. The CDC has no authority to shut anything down. The 10th Amendment doesn't allow it. When are people going to wake up? The CDC has no business telling you don't have to pay your rent. If you're a landlord, you can't evict. They have no authority. I don't understand why people are listening to that garbage.
Right, because majority of the people don't know any better. And we think because they are part of the government or a body of institution at that governmental level that they are, lawmaking and all that other crap. So, yeah, that's a part of the dumbed down educational system we are part of, my friend. Unfortunately.
I don't know, Mike. All right.
But hey, man, I appreciate you, man, for sure. Good talking to you.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, man. So get ready to dial back. Okay, 50 minutes. So I saw a comment out there that I want to definitely touch on. And so this is definitely, it's long overdue, but I think it's a good way to wind up this evening's live stream. And so somebody mentioned, I forgot who it was, mentioned about like damn, is there any good news out there? So real quick, for anybody out there watching, let us know in the chat. Let me know in the chat one thing, two things that that we can look at as good news. Of course, we have the primary good news of Jesus Christ having come and redeemed humanity through his blood. You are saved, and eternity will be spent on the new earth in the kingdom of God. That is the ultimate good news. But anything else out there people want to touch on, let me know via chat real quick, and I'll take this last phone call, and then we'll go from there. So, hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike?
Yes, this is him. How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, man, it's Brando Commando. I've been trying to get through for some time now.
Brando Commando, you got me, my friend. What's your mind tonight?
Oh, man, it's much. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I've been kind of off the grid for a little bit.
Yes, sir.
I just want to let you guys give you guys an update on the not paying the bills situation.
Okay, give it to me. So lay a little bit of the foundation for us so people know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, so I hadn't paid the mortgage since February because they announced that coronavirus pardon on rent and all that, and I'm like, well, crap, it's really going to get bad. But I want to have some cash on hand, and it kind of just snowballed 1 week after the next, 1 month after the next, and then like March came and crypto crashed and the market crashed, and I was like, well, shit, I have all this money sitting around. I should buy some crypto.
Yeah.
And that was a good time I did because Ethereum hit $100. So I was buying a lot of Ethereum, and that recovered nicely. And they kept on announcing those like mortgage and like rent moratoriums.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, damn, if they're not really pushing the buttons, I'm just going to hang on to it.
Yeah.
And then I started planning my exit strategy. So I
Uh-huh.
was thinking, if they're going to riot my neighborhood, they're going to burn my house down or whatever. And who needs a house if it's on fire, right?
Okay.
So I was just hanging on to the money because I kind of thought that things were going to go sideways. And they kind of did. And I haven't paid them, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. 7 months I haven't paid the mortgage. The bank, they weren't even calling. They weren't sending letters. They weren't sending any hate mail, nothing.
Uh-huh. And then...
I haven't even paid the electric bill since February. Not even the electric bill.
So you still haven't heard from nobody. Nobody's called you. Nobody's knocked on the door. Nobody's putting stickers on your door saying you gotta move or nothing.
Nothing, right? Nobody cares. The only person who cared was the water company. The water company started calling me and sending me those like red envelopes. So I paid the water bill because I like water.
Yeah.
But I owed the electric company like $2,500, and I owed the bank $17,000.
So your case is unique. So for those watching, this is something that you've been reporting on as a part of your unique situation. So here's the thing, like because of all the moratoriums and all that stuff that's been put out there as policy now, if you can't kick nobody out and the banks have to cooperate with you. And so how long do you think are you ready to ride this thing out until 2021 and then see what's going on then? Or
Well, so the bank called me, and I was in a good mood one day, so I answered the phone, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Brandon, how you doing?" And I'm like, "All right, cool. What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we got a couple options for you. How's the family?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, the family's not good. We all got coronavirus." And they're like, "No, you got coronavirus?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, we got the sniffles and everything." So they're like, "Okay, well, since we all had the coronavirus, then you qualify for all like the government loans and all that crap. So do you want like a government loan to pay off everything you own us?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What are the terms?" And they're like, "Well, no terms, really, no interest. We'll kind of just like put a lien on the property and just take a loan out, and we'll just give you $17,000. And I'm like, "Well, damn, that sounds good, because I've been buying a shit ton of silver and a shit ton of crypto, and utilizing capitalism to its best. That's what capitalism is for, right? So someone else's money."
Yeah, so you took out the so-called loan / lien against your property, and that's where you stand now, or what? Or that's in the process, or that's in the works?
Pretty much. I mean, I haven't signed all the papers because I've been looking through them, and they've more or less just snowballed all the payments into they've multiplied by 7, and they've given me a loan for $17,000. And they didn't tack on any late fees or any lawyer charges or any crazy stuff, because I have an FHA mortgage. And because it's an FHA mortgage, like the housing and urban development, like HUD or whatever they call it, they're gonna just roll me into the stimulus package.
Yeah, that's a government subsidy, man, in a sense. So people, most people in the chat saying basically they're gonna take advantage of the situation they're in to keep you in that house, but then again it's gonna come that day of reckoning. And that's when that loan gonna turn, that lien and the loan gonna turn into them, asking you to actually exit the premises at some point. So assuming you got that second place of residence to call home, or in case or like 2021 might be so chaotic that you won't be the only one doing the same thing. So it's going to be a lot of Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, so the other channel I follow is the Money GPS.
Yeah,
he brings everyone like up to date on a lot of the current events, and it's not just me who had this plan. There's like millions of us who are just like, "Hey, government loan, huh? Why don't you just eat that bill, buddy?" So a lot of people have been stuffing it down their throats, and drawing off whatever equity or drawing off whatever free money they can get. And recently I've been perusing the woods. I've been looking at acreage. I've been looking at some property.
Hey,
because
so
if I have to evacuate, I'm gonna go buy a couple acres in the middle of nowhere land. And I'm gonna take their money that they generously offered, and I'm gonna buy some acreage.
Well, hey, man, it seems like your current strategy, you have a plan, you're executing it. I wish you the best, my friend. And so I imagine you're not the only one. And so here's the biggest thing is, even when 2021 comes in, whoever's president, all the back rent, back mortgage payments, all that stuff is never going to be paid off anyway. So it could be a situation where, it end up working out for you in your favor, because you were able to save some funds, put it to where and believe in more so than your, the mortgage side of things, because that's a faulty, mortgage note in and of itself. So yeah, man, 2021, we'll find out. So definitely keep us in tune, man. I'm curious to find out. It's like a drama. It's like a dramatic story happening all in one, man. So appreciate you.
You see how low blood pressure strategy was? I mean, him and I were thinking the same thing, and we're like, hey, if it's going down in flames, I'm just going to pour some gasoline on the side.
I see that. Hey, Brando, man, I appreciate you calling and sharing your story, my friend.
All right, love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Be good. All righty, people. So it's been a great evening. So a lot of back and forth, a lot of interesting, stories and unique stories. So as always, I want to definitely make sure I remind you guys, for those that are interested, this is a time like never before to get your weight up. Want to make sure you guys are aware of the Get Your Weight Up coin. For those that are tuning in, feel free to click the link down below, use a promo code to save a couple dollars. And so right now, as of course, the prices are a little cheaper. Get your weight up, whether it be through the coin or whatever else you have out there. And if you guys want to support the channel, I also provide a little bit of merchandise for those that might be interested. in the form of, oh, okay, I lost my thing here. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. So with that being the case, be blessed, be safe. I will see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month towards the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.